All right, welcome back. Now, in this episode, I'm going to do something a little bit different. Now, normally I'd have a kit here and I'd be building something, but what I thought I would do in this episode is highlight a few kits that I've done, some recently, some quite a few years ago, but that obviously I didn't get to do for these build videos, since this is something I've only recently jumped into. But kits, even though a lot of kits are only done in all kits are done in a print run, a manufacturing run, and then that's it until they're reissued. So sometimes you may see a kit and it won't be available again, sometimes for 10, 20 years. But with this thing called the internet and eBay in particular, a lot of older kits are still floating around out there. You just have to know to be aware of them, to go out and find them, and have them available to build. So, on that note, I'm going to go through a couple of kits I've done, including this guy, and show you what they have, and good builds, all recommended, as you'll see. But things to look into if you're looking for not the latest thing that's out there. If you want to dig back a little bit and find something different to build, then I think I may have a bit of a solution for you with this video. So, without further ado, let's get started. Okay. Okay, so our first trip down prior building lane will be this Revell Ford Bronco, number 4320, you can see there. Great little kit. This actually is still available, and there it is. They have even released this with more of an off-road style package, which gives you some beefier tires. But I was drawn to this because that this old Ford Bronco, the almost, or you could say one of the original SUVs on the American car market that people could go out and buy. So interesting subject matter. To be able to do it in stock was particularly interesting to me, and Revell just did a great job with this kit. I stuck with a very simple scheme here, just the light powder blue, which matches the box art. I did not do the stripe along the side. I just wanted it stock as a rock in a box, as the saying could go. So it's very well detailed. I will take off the top. You have a nice interior. You may recognize this. I have this in several images. The introductory slide for my videos. I have this on display. I have a nice engine compartment in there, and in a second I'll flip it over and show you the underbody. Underbody on this is really great, nicely detailed. But everything went together really well with this kit. Even the side glass, I was a little concerned when I was building it, because I thought, if the windshield isn't mounted right, this stuff isn't going to line up. But it all went together great. So can't recommend this one enough. Really good build, and you end up with a really, really nice looking kit with just basic modeling and assembly skills. And there is that underbody and the spare tire holder, which for some reason I refuse to glue in place and always falls off. But you can see you've got all the linkages for the front, the shocks. You got the damper on there for the steering. It's all there. You assemble that all separately. It does come with a separate frame. You know how much I like that. Frame, chassis, body pan, frame, body, all separate units, so the detail is there, and just a real great build. So if you get one of these, get your hands on it, buy it, build it. You will not be disappointed. Okay, so moving on to the next one. Okay, so next up on memory lane here is the Revell Trabant. Now, if you're not familiar with this car, this was the working person's car in the old Soviet system. You had to, as far as I understand, you had to apply and wait. And if you were fortunate enough to actually have something that was built, this is what you got. The Trabant. Little 3-cylinder, 2-cycle engine in there. I believe it was 3 cylinders. I think it turned out like a whopping 45 horsepower or something ridiculous like that. But, this design was first done, I believe, sometime in the 50s. And they were pretty well making them this way right until the the collapse of the Soviet system and the wall coming down in the 1990. And this is what people had. It has a lot of shortcomings in terms of what you would consider automotive design. But that said, it's kind of like the three-legged dog you can't help love. Because as the wall came down and people from particularly the Eastern Bloc countries started driving these around into Western Europe, they actually developed a cult following. In fact, when I was in Berlin, even actually before the wall came down, it was a year prior, they had a sculpture of a couple of Trabants kind of stacked on top of each other. A little odd, but even then that there was a certain following for this machine. And I think part of it was, if there is nothing else, you appreciate what you have. And I think people learned to appreciate this because it gave them mobility. All right, so all that aside, in terms of building a kit, this is a great kit. I spotted this one time when I was in Germany years ago. And I thought, such a unique subject. Had never seen this in a kit before, so I snatched it up. And it's a great building kit. Everything fits together spot on. You have detailed engine, undercarriage, interior, trunk. The hood and the trunk are hinged. They open up. And everything just goes together great. When I bought this and I went to build it, I was a little concerned because I hadn't built a Revell kit in a while, and I thought, how well this is going to go together. Let me tell you, it's great. Just as a specific thing to point out, this trim molding along the fender line here of the car, those are actually 3 separate pieces. They do come separate, so you can paint them as you choose, away from the body. Nice touch. But, when you go to put them on the car, man, there's grooves molded in there. They drop right in. They weren't molded. They weren't twisted. They fit perfect. And, the whole kit just went together in a similar fashion. So, can't recommend this enough. And so that you can see a little bit more of it, it's interesting because the roof comes separate, and I thought, why glue it on? Because there's this really nice interior. And to give you a look in there, and very nice undercarriage. Now, this is a very simple car, so there's not a whole lot going on underneath there. But, what is there to see is all there. Your simple rear suspension, little exhaust, front wheel drive, front suspension, it's all there. And then we have our hood and our trunk. And to get a little better look in there, it does come with all the little decals to dress up the engine. And in the trunk, you even have, there we go. In the trunk, we even have a real spare tire. So that is pretty good stuff. So this kit may be a little bit difficult to find because, like I said, I bought this years ago. I don't even know if Revell actively makes it. I guess I could have checked before I did the video, but I didn't. But whatever, you know. And I'm sure on eBay, if you look for it, you could probably find it. And if you do, buy it, because you're not going to find this presented, I think, in this good a fashion with this much detail. So, Revell Trabant, the one and only. Okay, and here we go with an MPC. I don't really know what they call this. I don't remember. I do not have the instruction set for it. Unlike the other kits I'm showing here, the instructions for this, I guess, made their way into the goodbye basket known as the garbage pail. But I wanted to show this one because it builds up to a pretty neat kit. But also, I believe round 2 through AMT, don't quote me on that, has released this kit or re-released it with a number of different bodies. So it'll be the same chassis basically, but you can have different bodies on top. Obviously, this is the chopped Ford. I think they have one that is a Vega, but there's a couple of them. You know, if you look for AMT kits, you'll see them. But this builds up to a pretty neat machine. It is a very simple kit because you don't have a whole lot of detail going on, but you do get a nicely detailed engine. In fact, I think I had showed this kit when I did the Plymouth Valiant Scamp, if I remember correctly. But I didn't do wiring or anything with this. I just built it and painted it. But it comes out pretty nicely once it's all done. You also do, with this one, you got quite a few decals. I kept it simple, and it looks great. You'll notice the tires, I lettered those myself. They were not pad printed when I had bought this kit, and this is probably going back like 15 years that I've had this. The new ones, the reissues, I do not know if the letters are pad printed, but it was not difficult to do. The printing on the tire was raised, so you could definitely go in there and pick that out without much of a problem. And then underneath, because this is a stripped down racer, very simple, just straightforward drivetrain, suspension, and off you go to the races. And also with this, it comes with a little engine cover, as you saw that I removed, but it looks pretty neat without it, just going open top. So if you can see one of these, simple kit. Another one, like I said, with the 66 AMT Chevy Stalker, modified Stalker. You could do this in a weekend. This is a weekend build if you have nothing else to do, weather is miserable outside, whatever, you just want to sit and do your hobby. You can knock this off in the weekend. Pretty simple. I mean, of course, you could go crazy with your painting, but pretty straightforward painting. And build it up, So, good kit. As I said, these are out now in a number of different varieties. This variety itself is, in fact, available. So, if you want to check it out, pick one up, have some fun with it. Okay, and here we have the Revell 57 Ford Gasser, number 4478. This kit is still available. This is not recent release, but it is still actively out there, and you can pick it up and you can build it, and you should. So let's take a look at it. Now, you can build this kit stock or gasser. Of course I built a gasser because the gasser looks awesome. So Revell kit, when I was building this, like with the Trabant, I thought, when people review models, sometimes they're like, Revell kits, and they have their criticisms of them, but I think this kit is one of these that show that when a company like Revell puts their mind to it, they can make a really great kit. And this one too, everything just goes together super nice. The interior is well detailed, engine bay, undercarriage, everything is there. It all goes together well. It all looks great. In particular with this, you have the separate side cards for the interior. It is not a tub. I much prefer that when I do my builds. Also, it has the separate frame underneath, which I think seems to be, from what I'm seeing from kits I have stashed here, more of a standard thing with Revell now is to have always a separate frame. I really like that too, because more detail, more suspension detail, you can get all that in there. This is another kit, like I said, it went together no problem. Had a lot of fun building this one. I've said it in other videos, I love this whole gasser look, the stance with the front lift, the pipes coming out, it's just such a kooky interpretation of a racing car, and go fast in a straight line. That's probably all they're real capable of, but they look pretty neat just sitting there. So this does have an opening hood. It is hinged, so we will take a look at that after we take a look at the underbody. And you can see we have that gasser front end with just the beam axle. That's pretty standard with those types of cars. Those nice headers sticking out, and drive line. We got our rear end with some shocks, fuel tank, that's all there. And hopefully you can get a little bit of a look in the interior. I did use some darker colors, so it's probably very difficult to catch on camera, but it is nicely detailed. They do give you decals for the dashboard, so that's all good. You get those nice wheels. And we'll pop open the hood. Now this one, you'll see I did wire the engine, but there's a real nice engine bay detail hanging out in there. And good stuff. One of the things I like to point out when I do AMT kits, you've probably heard me make a number of comments about fitting exhaust pipes and getting them to line up. And, this one, so this was very simple. I did wait to put them in until I had some more of the front assembly done than they show in the instructions, because I wanted to make sure those were going to fit in right. But boy, I put the engine in, I had the front suspension in there, and boy, they just dropped right in and lined up. So, you gotta like that. So another one, great kit, one you could have tons of options for, how you choose to interpret the build. I liked the green and white, that was the box art. But, there are loads of different interpretations you can do with this kit. And another one, you can have a lot of fun with this one. So, again, you see it? Grab one. All right. All right, now we have the Revell Quaker State Outlaw Sprint car. One of these little sprint racers. Now, this kit, I built this. This is another one. I probably built this like 15, 20 years ago. This kit has some age in it. Reason I'm showing it, one, it's a really cool kit, and if you see, if you happen to track one down on eBay or something like that, it's a good build. But also, Revell at least a few times has re-released this kit just as a different endorsement package. So this one is Quaker State, but I've seen it come out with different, branding for the endorsements, and so it does come around every now and then. And like I said, if you're looking at it online, you will find some earlier versions of it, and there it is. Now, I do not know about reissues of the kit. But when I bought this kit, the metallic parts here, that's molded in color for you. That is not painted. And in typical, instead of the usual typical super flashy chrome, this had this really nice metallic sheen on it, and I really appreciated that building it. The rest of the kit was molded in white and did require, the usual painting and whatnot. But that color, I thought, that's one, it's really nice, and two, I didn't have to go and try to find a paint to emulate or simulate that. So it was ready to go. The tires were not pad printed. I did paint the lettering on there, but again, it's raised and it's pretty easy to access. But this kit, it's a lot of fun to build, but it does require some patience because you do assemble the entire frame of the chassis, the tube frame of the chassis. It is delicate. Some of the parts are fragile, to say the least. The suspension linkage is all there. As we come around to the front, you can see this again. And, some of the contact points are small, to say the least. And they can pose a little bit of a challenge. So certainly not a first kit, but definitely if you have a few kits under your belt and you see one of these, certainly something to go after. Now, I'm not going to do it here because it's a little bit of a pain, but you can build this and not glue in all the cowls. So the front cowl here over the engine, that can be pulled out. The rear cowl over the fuel tank, that can be pulled out. You just have to be, again, very careful because there are a lot of these fine, fragile pieces in there. It does come with the driver figure. I don't know if they still, on the reissues, give you the driver figure, but that is a nice little touch. Now, what I will do is flip it over so then you can see some more of the detailing on the suspension, drive line, and whatnot. And you can see there, it's really nice. There's a lot going on with this kit. A lot of detail jammed in there. And certainly for its size, it's one of those small form factor, but packing a big punch. And, they even gave you the two different sized rear tires, for the, so going around the oval, they put one larger tire on to get the extra grip going around. So they have that in there as well. So, just a lot of nice detail on this kit. And as you can tell with the age of this one, it was good back then, and I'm sure it's still good now. So definitely one to consider if you see it. All right, now last but not least, have sort of a twofer on this one. We have the Revell DAF 95 XF Space Cab Tractor, and from Revell, and from Italeri, a Technocar 20-foot container trailer to make a tandem. And there they are. So, first thing you're probably wondering, yes, I did light this up. So, although the glare of the light makes it a little tough to see into that cabin, it is in fact lit up, and couldn't resist doing that. So this one was a little bit of a project because I had bought the tractor. Again, this is another one I had picked up on a trip to Germany. In case you're wondering by now, no, I'm not independently wealthy. My father was working for Lufthansa, and we were able to enjoy flight benefit as part of his employment. So we were able to go over and visit the family in Germany. So I had a chance to look at some kits back before the internet was really a thing for buying stuff, and got my hands on this. So it actually sat in my basement for quite a few years because a little story with this one. When I was on the occasion I was in Germany at this time, my father and my uncle and we rented a car, and we were driving around the suburbs, some of these small towns around Hamburg, and we had stopped to grab some lunch at a cake shop, pastry shop, and there was also a hobby shop there. So my father and I went inside, and I bought this. And when we came out and went over to the pastry shop to have our lunch, my uncle was asking us if, do you guys in the States have some kind of a holiday for the Trade Center, referring to the original Trade Center attack. And long story short, that was September 11th, 2001. So, yeah, we, not that, it compares to any of the horror stories so many people suffered on that day. But yeah, my my father and I were actually stuck in Hamburg for a couple of days trying to get a flight back home. And while that might have sounded like, real suffering getting stuck on vacation, but it was a pretty unnerving time, and the city was under a partial lockdown, police military style lockdown. So it was an odd time. So for years, this kit sat untouched because whenever I looked at it, I thought, not a good day. And every time I looked at it, it reminded me of that day. And, I just, like, I guess a lot of other people didn't want to, dwell. But I figured, well, instead of ignoring that memory and trying just to forget about it, I went ahead and built it. And, here we go. So the kit builds up great. This was from a time when Revell, Germany was a pretty separate animal from Revell, America. So some of the kits you could get over there, you simply could not get here. And I think that was pretty well the case with this one. All the tractor kits I had seen here in the States from Revell were your Kenlers, Peterbilts, Max, things like that. This I was drawn to because, yes, it's a tractor, but slightly different. The only catch with this one, and I guess it was my my degraded ability to understand any German. I thought this kit came with a tilt cab and had the engine detail underneath. It does not. It is a curbside. If you're not familiar with the term, a curbside model is one without an opening engine area. Typically, I avoid those kits because I want my engine detail. But well, it was what it was, and I had it. So I went ahead and built it. And the kit builds up beautifully. It is partially molded in color with black and some gray inside and white for the body. I kept some of the black for the underbody, the rest, everything I had painted. So, and then once it was done, I thought, it's just screaming to have a trailer hooked up. So I was looking for a trailer kit, but a short one, because I didn't want to devote a whole bunch of shelf space to a full-size trailer. So I found this 20-foot cargo container kit from Italeri, and there it is. So I built it up. Now, for those of you who are shipping experts out there, you will say, hey, K-Line uses a red container color. And yes, that is true. And the kit actually did come molded in red for the container color. I went ahead and painted it orange because I wanted it to match my tractor. And you know what? When you build a kit, you get the executive decision on doing those things, and I made my executive decision. So there you go. But whether you, because they are two separate kits, you know, this was a really nice trailer kit. I had never done an Italeri kit before this one, and it's got all nice detail underneath there. Take this off and flip it over. For the airbag suspension, that's all in there. Nice detail on the back. I know it's a little tough to get it on camera because it's a bit of a big machine here. So really nice kit. And you know, if you want to be a little more creative, these doors come as two separate pieces. You could, you know, make hinges, have them swing open, you know, and have a little display in there. I had considered that when I was building it, but I decided, oh, I'm just going to do it the way it is. And the tractor here, you know, this too, very nice, even though it is a curbside. You can see underneath here, there is still some pretty good detail, particularly on the rear suspension. Again, with the airbags, you got the spare tire, you've got the air tanks, you know, all that good stuff is there. The fact that it was a little simple underneath because there was no engine detail actually made it a little bit easier to do the lighting modifications. So it does have a very nicely detailed interior, which if we can get in here, this is why I usually don't move cameras around when I do these videos because as you can see, not too good at it, but it is a nice interior in there. So if you're looking to build a tractor trailer combo and you know, you don't have a whole lot of shelf space, you know, certainly consider this Italeri shortened tractor, shortened trailer, so you can still have your king of the highway combo. Okay, so both kits went together great. Definitely recommend them as well. So if you see them and you like them, make them yours. Okay, so that is that. Okay, so there you go. There's some old kits from times gone by, times recently gone by, times not so recently gone by. But, and you know, here, a couple of them drove back out onto my building mat. Who would have thought? But like I said in the beginning, you know, what you see on the shelf or what you see as the recent release, there is a lot more out there that you can look to build. And just because something isn't, you know, a recent release does not mean it's not worth looking into. Certainly do your research, because if you're buying a secondhand kit, you know, you want to make sure they're not missing parts, that they're not partially assembled or painted, that you need to strip paint off. You know, if you're going to buy something used off, you know, basically eBay, or I don't know if there's like an exchange site or something for models. I'm sure there's, you know, a page for everything on the internet. Just, you know, make sure that what you're getting is a good serviceable kit, not someone's disaster that they put back in a box and sold to you. So yeah, you know, do be careful before clicking the purchase button. So that's all for this episode. Something a little bit different. I know I didn't build anything, but I am currently building, so don't worry about that. So once again, you know, same drill. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this, particularly this one, you know, useful. A little bit of a different subject on this, but you know, please do like, share, subscribe, you know, all that wonderful YouTube stuff there, and hopefully more people can see the content. If you found it useful, I would certainly hope other people would find it useful. That's the goal here. So that's that. So I'll wrap this up. Again, thanks for watching, and see you with the next build to see what else pops up on this table. Okay, goodbye.